Okay, welcome back to Combat Mission Shop Force 2, where we're going to look at the AI plan we want for our little scenario here. So we've got some terrain, we've got some forces, we've got some objectives. So now, obviously, what we need to do is make the AI do something, otherwise it's going to be pretty boring. So there's a few components to this. Most of the AI stuff is unsurprisingly handled in this tab up here, the AI tab, which looks a lot more complicated than it is. The first thing we've got to do, though, is split the AI's units into groups so it knows which group is getting what order. So if we go into the Units tab and we go to the red side, we've got all the units here, and we see we've got the U1 and U2 designations. That's the units that we subdivided for the objectives. And then we have the R designation on the tank because that's our reinforcements. AI groups have an A designation, and we give them that by pressing the F keys. So everything is group 1 by default, so if you press F1, nothing happens. But if we do F2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we got it, right? Dead simple. Actually, I think I just cleared the reinforcements of it. There we go. So if we take the tank and we give it, well, let's break this down in terms of what we want the AI to actually do and do it that way. So the first thing we want to do, our default group up at the top here, these are the guys who are hanging around in the objective compound at the far end. So we're just going to leave them in group 1 because that's really simple. The other group, the closer in group, well, we want them to run across that orchard, don't we? So let's make them group 2. And one of them we set off to one side a little bit in the irrigation ditch, and we're going to call that group 3. And what we'll do is we'll have these groups moving, and this group is going to put some covering fire down. And that leaves us with the tank, which is going to be group 4. Dead simple. So if we go to the AI tab, these are our AI plans on the left. So we have 5 plans and support targets for each side. We obviously want to be on the red plan. And we can choose how often the AI chooses to use this plan with this tab here. So this is used frequently, sometimes rarely, and not used. All the other ones are not used. We want to keep this really simple, right? So we're just going to use one AI plan. But if we wanted to jazz things up and keep the player on their toes, so it's different every time they play, or other people that have different experiences, we can mix in different AI plans, and we can make them harder or easier depending on how we want things to go. Obviously, we're keeping it simple, so we're not worried. Now, below that we have our groups. We can have 16 groups. I think you can press Shift and F, whatever, to get to the other numbers. I can never remember this. We're going to stick with group 1. By default, all the units you put on the map start out where you put them in the editor. But if we wanted to vary that, we can see we can give them 32 orders in the game. And the first one is setup. So we can paint on the map if we wanted to, say along here. This is just like painting anything else on the map. You can go over it to delete it, all that stuff. If we set the this AI group with this setup zone, they'll be randomly slotted inside this area. So they'll be in a different position every time. We don't really want that in this one. I'm kind of happy where they are, so we're going to get rid of it. But by doing that, by varying the setup zones and across different AI plans, we could have units set up in different places. This red overlay here is the deployment zone, the setup area as we've set out in the terrain part of the map when we made the map. We don't. The AI, when it deploys, ignores that. So if we had a setup zone out here, they would quite happily set up outside their deployment zone. It doesn't really bother with it. So what have we got the setup? Yeah, we're not really doing that. We don't need to give them any orders because we don't want them to move. We just want them to sit there. Down here, we have some of the deeper detail for what we want them to do. So at the top we have, do they occupy buildings? So it defaults to a mix. So AI who have an order that takes them into a building will occupy the lower floors, the upper floors, and rooftops, which is kind of handy. Mixed is the default. That makes sense. The middle one here is their behavior. So these pretty much all do exactly what it says on the tin. What we want for this one, I think, is going to be ambush 75 meters. That's kind of pretty damn close. This is more to make it a bit of a challenge for the blue player. You know, it's at night. Yeah, they've got night vision goggles, but they're not necessarily going to see a long way. These fields are how big is this field? It's Y317 to 498, so that's like 150 meters across. So if we advance across this field, like we're going to have to get to the objective, then the enemy is going to be opening up when we get here, when we're nice out in the open. That's kind of nasty. It's a bit of an ambush. Let's roll with that. But if we wanted to make it easier, we could set them to ambush 300, and then they would open fire at 300 meters, where the fire is going to be less effective. And then we have, this is for mounting and dismounting, if you have infantry and vehicles in the same group. So that's group 1. Don't need to do much with them. Not too bothered about that. Group 2 is our group that's down here. So we're going to set their deployment zone just in case I'm not happy with it. Let's keep it fairly tight in there like that. And now we want them to run down here, don't we? So if we press add, we move on to order 2. So this is, post deployment. And because we're moving, because this is an order, we can pick from a couple of options. So advance is a good kind of middle ground. At the dash end, they just run straight across. It's like a fast movement command. They just run. They don't stop to shoot at stuff. They just kind of try and bum rush to the location we're going to designate. Max assault is the other way around, where they will take shorter bounds and they will try and put more fire out. So we want them to dash, and we want them to dash. Remember, they're starting up here. We want to dash through the orchard into this trench. Okay, and if they make it through there, let's do an advance round to about there. So we're just painting where we want them to go on the map, like it's terrain. And if we go back and we check, we have setup, so they start there. Then they move down there through the orchard, and then if they get across there, they hook round and make the blue player's life really miserable. Cool, nice and easy. Now, group 3 was our lone team, wasn't it? So we want them to set up along the edge here. That's our movement element. These guys are going to be our fire element. So if we give them an order, now for this, if we hold down control, we paint a red area. And that's an area that the AI can shoot at. So instead of waiting for targets, they'll target light, usually, within that area. So again, let's make this a little bit tough for the blue player and get them to shoot up that building. Because that's where the blue player is going to put his troops, right? That's just how he's going to do it. So if we put like a few locations up here up front, including these, for the insurgents to shoot at. That's, you're going to give the blue player something to think about, and it's going to light them up as a target. And finally, we've got our tank. So our tank is going to pop in here. So setup doesn't really matter because it's coming on as reinforcement. So it's always going to pop up in the same place. Because it's appearing in the middle of the game where the AI can't move it around in the deployment phase. So we need to give it an order, and let's give it an order about here. So we're just doing, because we want to keep it on the road, we can just give it a single location, and it's going to go to that action square, that little 8x8 meter square. And let's give it another one and bring it down to the crossroads there. Like I say, you can do more complex stuff than this, but we're really trying to keep it simple here. So, let's see. So, yeah, 1, 2, yeah, that's cool. And that is an incredibly simple AI plan. So let's save it and get ourselves over to testing it. And if we do single player and we do scenario author test, and this is going to let us see everything. So there's no fog of war or anything. Let me say we can see all these bits. We can see that this is group 2 and this lone unit over here is group 3. And actually I should have pointed this out. If you go into the 3D the deploy units in the editor, or you play the game with a scenario author test mode, you can see down here at the bottom we've got A3, that's AI group 3, these guys AI group 2, these guys AI group 1. And yet again we can see when we click on these guys have a circular 75 meter target arc. That's the ambush 75 meter command that we gave them at the start. Dead simple. If we click on these guys, we can see that they're just going to leg it across the orchard like we wanted them to. It is worth noting that they are doing weird stuff here. This is because each unit, the area that we've painted for them to move to is just a continuous area, and they're just picking a random place inside it to go to. So this can cause problems and traffic jams and all kinds of other things. So it's not, sometimes it's worth breaking larger groups down to smaller groups and things like that. So I'm just going to leave these guys all here. And if we press go, we should start to see stuff happening. Yeah, these guys are starting to move. Yeah, so these guys are starting to leg it through the field. How are these guys doing? Yeah, there we go. We've got a target light command. And yeah, they're starting to take some pot shots at the building. So we can make the AI shoot at stuff, and we can make the AI run around, and we can make the AI sit there and be a sneaky little pain in the ass. So we fast forward through here. So it only takes them a turn to get across this orchard. Now, when they get here, they should wait until they are all in the area. Oh, there goes an RPG. Oh, no, they've gotten spotted. Yeah, it's all going to go badly wrong now. Now, they've got in there, but they're not going to move again until the next turn, because the AI gives its orders in the interval between turns, just like a human does. If it was real time, they'd go, okay, we're here, off we go. Or they might do that anyway, just ignore me. Yeah, so off they go. Now they're starting to... Yeah, these guys are crawling because they're knackered. Well, it could be because they're... No, it's because they're pinned, I think. Yeah, round we go. it's not going to end well for him. So if we keep going to the 5-minute mark, because that's where the tank should pop in, and now we can see, yep, the tank has an order to just move forward. And then it moves forward again. Just sometimes it helps to break up, just like when you're ordering the normal pixel trapping around. It can help to break up orders into small chunks. So that's why the T-55 has 2 short little hops to get from there to there. Mostly because when I tested this out earlier, and it was trying to go the whole distance, it just drove into the ditch and got bogged. So it can help to break things down a little bit. Or not have your stuff driving around on broken terrain. Yeah, boom. That is the AI plan working pretty well. These guys are in position. They're mangled, but they're in position. These guys are still shooting in the random direction of the blue starting compound. That looks all good. So let's go back to the editor. Are there any elements of that we want to jazz up? No, I think that's okay. One thing I think we could do with doing is increasing the amount of time it takes for the tank to get here. So if we set that to arrive at the halfway point, that's really going to throw a wrench in the blue player's plans, right? Because by that time he should be quite far up the map, and the tank is going to be a lot closer and a lot scarier, but actually come to think about it, that means that we won't be able to show we might not necessarily be able to show the javelin off. What I'm thinking here is that let's set it to 10 minutes, that should be okay. If we look at the map, so after dealing with these guys, which should be pretty snappy for the blue player, they're going to be, they could well be up here by this point, and if the T-55 comes down here, they're going to be within range of the infantry's handheld anti-tank, like the AT-4s. So if we have it turn up a bit earlier, before they're too far up the map, we're going to have that standoff distance, and the javelin can do its thing. So let's make sure that wrong one. Let's get the javelin to pop in at the same time as the tank. What a coincidence! We get the tool we need to deal with the problem at the same time the problem arrives. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, I think we're about there. Let's get back and give it another test. Let's actually try and play through it this time. So this is how we're conceiving the battle, right? We want this squad over here. We'll stick this squad here, and then we'll have the MG teams and the HQ occupy the compound. So you guys can go in there. You guys can go in there, and yeah, you wait a second. Then let's get you up on that roof where you can look over all your little minions. Right. Yeah, let's press go and see what we get. I should maybe have not done this on scenario author test, because I don't know who can see who right now. Apart from the fact that this squad can see those guys and they're going to get wasted. Hey look, this is what we're showing off. US infantry platoon firepower. And yep, these guys are shooting in this general direction. It's cool, let's just fast forward this. Yeah, these guys are just going to get absolutely massacred. Because, hey, running directly at a bunch of enemy soldiers will get you shot. Who knew? And these guys are getting shot up a bit by the MT-40s, that's cool. And now, is he running away? Yes, he's running away. Right, so now we can start advancing. Let's get you guys up through the orchard and get to the drainage ditch. I feel like these are the two ways that the player is going to tackle this. They're going to go up the right or they're going to go up the left. Up the middle, probably not. But we've got our Overwatch, we've got our maneuver element up there. We've just touched the objective. And we can't really see anything there, which is good. That's a good sign that they've got their target light, not target light, ambush command going on. Let's bring our other squad up. And now let's use this as our fire support position and get rid of that. Let's go along the ditch and start trying to come up through the orchard to take out the compound. And we just shot that last guy. Oh, there's the tank, and here it comes. And we've got plenty of people who can see it, so let's just go blap that. Obviously this is quite fast and loose. So I guess you could kind of conceptualize this as a... Oh, they're firing AT-4s at the tank. You could kind of conceptualize this as a three-stage... Oh, the tank is shooting back. That's not fair. Yeah, definitely should have kept those guys in the ditch. But hey-ho, there goes the tank. Oh well. What was I saying? Yeah, a three-stage battle. So you start off with phase 1, where the enemy attacks you. Then you start moving up the map. Then the tank appears. That's your phase 2. And then phase 3 is we need to deal with this compound. I don't know. Let's just run across here and see how well that goes. Oh, we're out of range. Oh, yeah, we're in that envelope there. And something we can see is now that we've hit that distance, we triggered these guys. We got inside these guys' target arc. As soon as we entered the target arc, there we go, it lifted the target arc for all of them. So all these units will now open fire. And this squad is having a bad day. Yeah, so that's cool. That works. That all makes sense. We've got 15 minutes to clear that compound. Can we do it? Yeah, probably. We're probably going to hit a point here, I think, where the AI is just going to kind of caffle. We're just going to inflict so much damage on them that it'll throw the towel in. Oh, you guys are pretty spicy there. Yeah, that looks like it went badly wrong. Oh, everybody's throwing grenades at each other. What a dangerous place. So yeah, amusingly, this is actually, this kind of demonstrates that you can't just bum rush your way through this. You still need to apply some level of tactics to clear out these horrifying... there we go, they surrendered. So in the next one, we might need to think about, because they have still a pretty, they've still got a few men left. We maybe need to think about adding something. Well, we need to decide whether it's okay to get this far up and for the enemy to give up. That might be alright. Or it might not be. If it's okay, then we can start polishing the scenario a little bit. If it's not okay, then we need to think of some ways that we can add some backbone to the AI. That's either giving them more forces, or we can give them some... Well, essentially, they surrender because they've hit a certain level of attrition. So what they've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys left out of how many? Of course, I could have checked this. That would have been much easier, wouldn't it? Let's call it 35. So if we add like another few teams on and set them as reinforcements that arrive after the game ends, the AI will think it has more men than it actually does, and it will be inclined to hang on for longer. Of course, I also wanted to bring some air power into this, so maybe we should have another compound. Yeah, let's add in another compound or a building in this area here. This is all just big, empty, wasted space. So let's stick another building in here and give the player something with a JDAM so they can blow it up. That's going to show off the good links, the good C2 links that the infantry platoon has. You can call for fire. And it's also going to look cool, which is very important when you get to these kind of showcase scenarios. But yeah, pretty successful on the whole. Very, very simple AI plan here, I should point out. I should also point out that George MC, who makes a lot of the scenarios for Battlefront, has been making a series about AI plans and how they work and how to make them and all that jazz. I'll leave a link down in the description below. Make sure you check that out because he's going to explain it a lot better than I can. But yeah, nice and simple. It's not too difficult once you get your head around it. The trick is to not ask that much of the AI. But with that, that'll do for this video. And I will catch you in the next one.